When it comes to Etsy SEO, there's a whole lot of hype and hoopla that gets thrown around. How well can you separate Etsy SEO fact from fiction? Find out in this Mythbusters inspired episode of The Jam.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Jade.
I'm Gordon.
I'm Richie, and this is The Jam with Team Marmalade. So what is Marmalade? Is it a set of tools? Is it a resource? Is it education? Yes. Yes, it is. It's all of those. Marmalade helps you grow your sales with real shopper keywords. We use machine learning to take the guesswork out of getting found on Etsy. So if you have an Etsy shop and you want your listings to be found first by shoppers, you want them to show up in the right places where shoppers have an opportunity to buy them, then you want Marmalade. You want the keywords we have, and you want the education and the community around Marmalade to help you get there. Now you can check out Marmalade at marmalade.com, and that is marmalead.com. See you there.
So, what are we talking about today, guys?
So today we're going to be talking about some common Etsy SEO myths, and we're going to bust these myths today, or I guess we're going to tell you whether they are fact or crap, basically. So myth number one here, does the order of your tags matter? Or let's say the myth is the order of your tags matter. Do they or don't they, guys?
No, they don't matter. No, for a while people were getting upset that because they thought they mattered, and I guess some people still do, which is why we're busting the myth. But they were going through to like redo their tags in a specific order they wanted to. So they already had their tags and they took the same tags, but then they added them to their listings in a different order by taking them all off and then reordering them and putting them back on, which is a lot of time, and it doesn't matter.
Nope.
So it's a lot of work for nothing.
You can move your tags to basically any spot you want. It doesn't have any bearing on your search results whatsoever. Etsy looks at whether or not something exists in your tag, right? But it doesn't really care, whether it's the first tag or the last tag. I will say this, though. The order within each tag does matter, and that can kind of seem to confuse folks. When we say that the order of your tags doesn't matter, we mean like each individual tag, the order of those doesn't matter. But within the tag, the words within the tag, you can't skip words, you can't change word order and expect that tag to be, an exact match for what's going on in your title. So let me just give a quick example. Let's say you've got a silver starfish necklace as a keyword in your title. And then let's say that you go down and you make a tag that's silver necklace. So that's not going to be a match, right? Because the words within the tag aren't matching up with what's going on in that title. So again, the order of your tags themselves, that doesn't matter, but the order of the words within each tag does matter. So like Richie said, don't take down all your tags and redo the order. That is certainly not going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah, there's better things you could be doing with your time.
Oh, for sure. But do pay attention to the words within your tags. If you're breaking up a keyword across a couple tags, it does need to match what's going on in that keyword you're looking to target. Yeah. Anything else to add there?
No, I was going to prompt myth number 2.
All right, let's do it.
And we've got 8 of these, in case you guys are curious. Myth number 2. The order of the keywords in the title matters. Is that true or false?
It is actually true, but not for the reasons that most people think. So a lot of folks think that the order of their keywords matters for SEO purposes, but that actually isn't the case anymore. So the reason why Etsy, and so therefore Marmalade, want you to put your best and most descriptive keyword right at the front of your title is because there are so many shoppers, and this number just keeps going up, that visit Etsy from a mobile platform. They're shopping on Etsy from mobile devices, and so they're only seeing a smaller portion of your title on their smaller devices, right? If you're thinking about somebody who's looking at a title on a desktop or a laptop versus somebody who's looking at it on a cell phone, they're seeing a smaller portion of that title. And so it's really important psychologically for people to see the keyword that actually matches up and is a confirmation for what they're looking at in terms of the picture and the listing overall. So it is best that you put your most descriptive, most representative keyword right at the front of the title. Now, again, this is not going to help you in terms of SEO, right? It's not going to help you in terms of search placement on Etsy. but it does help in terms of, the experience of the customer making sense of the listing right off the bat, especially on those visiting Etsy from a mobile platform. I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that it's something like 60% and growing of shoppers that visit Etsy from a mobile platform.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right. It's
Okay.
definitely increasing. More and more people are doing that. And that's across the board. It's not just Etsy. You see that every year in Black Friday. They put out the numbers for how many people purchase things online versus in brick or mortars. And more people are doing things online, and more people are doing things from their phones.
Yes.
Yeah, I think most of the time when I'm searching for stuff, especially on Etsy, I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm rarely on the computer
Yeah,
when
same.
I do it. Yeah.
And kind of a bonus point here to this myth is, while it doesn't affect your Etsy SEO, actually, it does matter for Google SEO. So we don't talk a lot about Google SEO. We're not Google SEO experts, but we do know that, working in a couple of those most descriptive keywords right at the front of the title does matter for Google SEO. So it's kind of a little bonus there to put your most descriptive keyword right at the front of your title for an Etsy listing.
Yeah, a little shameless Marmalade plug here too. If you're curious what your title looks like on a mobile device, you can see that in Marmalade on your listing detail pages. You just pull up one of your listings and scroll down, and we'll show you exactly what your title looks like in mobile search results and then on the mobile listing page, because Etsy also, on some devices, truncates your title on your actual listing page too. They don't even show the whole thing on a mobile device.
Which is huge, right? Because if 60% of customers on the Etsy platform are coming from a mobile device, knowing what your title looks like to that percentage of customers is a big deal. So yes,
Yeah.
Love the plug.
Mm-hmm.
All right, myth number 3. My listing descriptions are part of Etsy SEO.
Womp, womp, womp.
Womp womp. Nope, that one is
Nope.
incorrect.
Right. Etsy
Yeah.
actually does not look at your descriptions. So where your descriptions really do matter is, it's a sales factor. It's in closing the deal. Jade's gonna
I'm
sneeze.
so sorry.
Jade's gonna
I was
sneeze,
trying to
so
tell
we're
her to
gonna wait a
stop because I
moment.
was getting
get
ready
it,
to
get it.
sneeze and it's gone. I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Get it in
You're
the
gonna
recording.
have to start.
No, it's okay.
Sorry. I was hitting her because I'm like, I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna sneeze.
I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing?
Pause. I'm gonna have to cut it out.
That's so sad. I wish I could have gotten that.
Sorry. Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
So
Let go.
no, Etsy doesn't look at your descriptions. Where your descriptions really do actually come into play is in terms of closing the deal. It's a sales factor, and they are very important, even though they're not a part of your SEO or being found in search. They're certainly a part of getting your conversion rates to where you want them to be. So again, you're telling the story for people. You're really describing your product, making a connection. But no, descriptions, they don't matter for Etsy SEO. Etsy is not looking at your descriptions. It's your customers who are. But again, just like that last point that we made, Google actually will look at your first, I think it's 140 to 160 characters of your description. So if you can conversationally drop in a few of your keywords, your primary keywords into that first little bit, again, you want that to be natural. But Google will look at the very beginning of your description. So while Etsy isn't looking at them, again, a little bonus if you want to do a little bit of Google optimization there, conversationally drop some of those keywords in.
Yes, and I'll say do not stuff those keywords in there. Don't just
Right.
cram it in there looking for some sort of old keyword density matters. I'm just going to paste a bunch of it at the bottom so it's like dense with a keyword. Don't do that.
No.
Mm-mm.
Not only will that not work for Google, but it's going to look really strange to the average Etsy shopper. And they're going to wonder why
Yeah.
you're doing that, and they're going to think something's wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
those descriptions, your primary goal or objective there is to connect with your customer, to give a good description of the product so that there are no questions left in their mind about what this is, its dimensions, whatever, and again to tell your brand story and to just connect with that customer. That's your primary number one objective with your descriptions, and then that Google stuff, that's just a bonus, and it 100% needs to be conversational and natural and go with the flow of that overall idea of connection and telling your story. So myth number 4, repeating keywords, is that going to hurt me?
No, Etsy, it's not going to hurt you unless you do what we just talked about, which was a nice segue into this, where you're just going to paste a whole bunch of keyword garbage into your listing. That will hurt you, like we just talked about. But repeating keywords is not going to hurt you. So if you have a listing titled starfish necklace, beach necklace, and use them both as tags, the fact that I use necklace twice, will it hurt my listing? That's a big question. No, it's not going to hurt your listing. Etsy doesn't mind that at all. Etsy's going to look at things in context. So they're looking at beach necklace as one kind of thing, or starfish necklace as one kind of thing. The only downside is using part of your title twice. So if you're using that space in your title to say necklace twice, where you could have used a different keyword there, but if you really want to target those specific keywords, then you should do it. So that's a decision you're going to have to make. And so it's not really a hard and fast rule, except for the fact that it's not going to hurt you. You're not going to be penalized for it.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's why it's so important to remember that, a lot of times there's going to be some tweaking for that SEO strategy, specifically as it pertains to your keywords. You're very likely going to need to do some tweaking over time. But, you might find, that those keywords, even though you're targeting necklace twice, that they're both really working for you. Or you might find that you want a little bit more diversity. And that really, one of them, beach necklace, isn't working, starfish necklace is. And so you have the opportunity to sort of tweak things and to optimize it a little bit more to get you in front of an active audience. So no, it's not going to hurt you to repeat, but you may find that you do want some more diversity. Basically, at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you're getting movement from the keywords that you've applied to your listing. And if you can do that by using 2 keywords that say necklace, okay. If you need some more diversity in order to get you in front of, more and different active audiences, then okay.
Yeah, the real benefit in this specific example that Richie gave would be that if someone is searching for beach necklace, by having that term in your title like that, you're going to be a stronger match than other products that don't have that. So if somebody else listed that same thing as starfish necklace beach and didn't have beach necklace because they figure, well, I already have necklace for starfish, they might still match for that beach necklace term because those words are in there. But because you have them together like that, it's going to make you a stronger match for that. What it doesn't help you with is if somebody is searching for necklace, Etsy isn't going to see that you have necklace in there twice and say, oh, this is a real, they really care about necklaces on this listing. This is a good one. They don't, as long as the word is found, they don't care if it's 8 times or once. It's the same credit for having the word there.
Yeah, excellent point. Yeah, because that is something that confuses people. They're like, well, I have necklace in this listing 16 times. But yeah, excellent point. That's not really going to get you where you want to be.
Let me jump in real quick to let you know that if you're enjoying this podcast, you should definitely check out our free 3-part mini-series about Etsy SEO. It's designed to take you from what is Etsy SEO to an example of an efficient Marmalade workflow. Check it out at marmalade.com/jam2020. Myth number 5. Etsy doesn't care if my shop policies are filled out.
Well, that's a big old false.
Big old false.
If Etsy's giving you room to fill something out, please do it, right? Etsy is using pretty much every piece of information you offer them to help match you up with the right shoppers for your shop, for your product. And as they lean more and more into AI-based, technologies, this is going to become even more important. So fill out your policies, fill out your about section, fill out your materials section. If there's a section to fill it out, fill it out. That's basically what I have to say about that.
Yeah, because, oh my word, I can't imagine not having the policies filled out because that protects you as a seller. So you definitely should have them filled out. You want to be clear with your customers and you don't want to set them up to have expectations that are not realistic or not true. And you don't want to leave room for assumption. So it's really important that you do that just on a really logical level.
Yep, protect yourself.
Yeah, Etsy even has templates in place that you can use to fill these things out so that you don't have to, go start Googling around to find what shop policies should look like. It's kind of a no-brainer. You can go in there and just easily select some templates, make any changes if you want, and they're done. It's just a way for people to know that you're a serious shop and you're not just somebody who threw, 4 listings out there on Etsy and isn't going to follow through with any orders or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a way for both your customer and Etsy to know that you are serious about doing business here. Yeah. And like Jade said, it's such an important way to protect yourself. And to make things clear throughout the process for your buyers and for yourself. So
especially when you get busy.
Yeah.
In the holidays.
Yes. I mean, there are times when you're going to be swamped and when you're going to need those protections in place. It's It's hugely important. Policies are hugely important, and every other piece of information that you can offer. If they're asking for a piece of information, make sure that that section is filled out. And your policies are certainly not the least of those in any way, shape, or form.
Right. You don't want to spend your time answering questions about policies that you could have just put up there. But the bigger thing is people are going to expect them to be there because other shops have them. And they're not going to write you to ask that question in the first place. They'll just go somewhere else where it's stated and they already know.
Absolutely. Myth number 6, the Etsy search bar shows the most popular searched keywords. True or false?
I would say ish.
I like it.
True-ish. Yeah, they show you searches that are being done more than other searches. So if the example here, you start typing in a letter like P, Etsy will autocomplete and show you the most popular searches that have been done that start with P. But those searches, what's the time frame? What are we looking at here? Is this most popular in the last 5 minutes? Most popular in the last day, month? What time period are they really looking at? And the shorter that time period gets, the less helpful those are going to be to you as a seller when you're swapping out keywords, unless you enjoy doing your SEO multiple times a day, which most people probably don't. And that's okay.
So, I mean,
we
yes,
don't expect you to.
They're showing you, they could be showing you, like Gordon said, what's popular in the last month, the last 5 minutes. Bottom line is it really isn't enough information to build a strategy off of. Either way, like even if we're encouraging you to use this as a way to generate keyword ideas, you want to take those keywords back to a set of tools. Obviously, we're hoping you choose Marmalade since we offer, the best tools on the market. But you're going to take those keywords back to a set of tools so that you can learn, so that you have the information, so that you have the data, so that you can actually create an SEO strategy based off of more information than just knowing that the keyword is popular-ish at a given time.
Yeah, you definitely want the full picture.
Yeah.
You do not want part of the picture.
There's just simply not enough information to create a strategy off of the search bar alone. So
yeah, as you know, and as you start filling things out and getting more and more specific with the keywords that you're putting in there, it's kind of like, well, yeah, so apparently Etsy has that term on their radar. It has been searched before, but as I add more characters, it's getting more and more specific. I'm getting less and less suggestions from them. How many people are actually searching that term once I get to the last one that's suggested here? Like, I've gotten so many words in here, it's on their radar, but has it been searched by one person before or 10 people? And even if it's 10 people, what are my chances of getting a visit or a sale off of this specific keyword? It's really, you're kind of shooting in the dark. It's a little bit better than nothing. Like if you were just going to guess keywords out of thin air to put on your listing, at least this offers a little bit of guidance, but boy, I wouldn't want to rely on that.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, yeah, maybe 10 people are searching for it, but you don't know the competition. You don't know the engagement. You just simply know that it's been searched before, and that's about it. So again, yeah, to agree with Gordon, it's basically shooting in the dark. A little bit better. Maybe you've got a match. but yeah. All right. Myth number 7. If I add more photos, will it improve my Etsy SEO?
No.
Absolutely not.
Etsy does encourage you to have 10 photos though, right? They're encouraging you to, but they're not going to penalize you if you don't have 10 photos, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think that they recognize that, essentially there are some products out there where it would be pretty hard to take 10 photos. Maybe you sell, let's say, downloadable birthday invitations, right? That might be pretty hard to get 10 unique photos, but certainly this kind of goes back to something we were talking just a couple myths back about. You want to make sure that you're giving your shoppers as much information as possible, and your photos are a good way to do that, right? If you have maybe a necklace, you want to show a potential buyer where that's going to fall on their neck, or what it's going to look like in different lighting. What does the back of the piece of jewelry look like? What does it look like from the side? And so for somebody selling an object like that or a product like that, 10 photos probably are pretty easy in order to make sure your customer doesn't have any questions about the product. But again, back to that downloadable birthday invitation thing, it'd be really hard to take 10 photos of that. Yeah. And Etsy recognizes that. So no, it's not going to hurt your search placement or your SEO in general if you don't have 10 photos, but certainly keep in mind that giving your customer as much information possible about your product is very important.
Yeah, we talked about this in a previous episode that, you can build a story and really intrigue your customer into buying your product with your photos. So, it is important that if you can get those images and have different angles and, show in your photos why the customer needs it, it's very helpful.
Mm-hmm. But it does not affect your SEO. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are very concerned about the things that Etsy is going to penalize them for, and they forget about the things that the customer is going to penalize them for.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah,
that's
very
a great
point. It is so important to be optimized for both your customer and for Etsy, right? And almost your customer more than. I mean, you're right. Search placement is incredibly important. It is. It's the first part of it, but we need to recognize that it's only a part of it. And then the rest of it really is making sure that you are the most optimized for what your customer is looking for, what they want, what's going to grab their attention, and what's going to generate that conversion. So definitely, great point, Richie.
And as far as figuring out what your customers are interested in and what's important to them, you can really lean on Etsy for that sort of information. When Etsy says they run tests and found that people prefer XYZ, you can trust them. Your goal is the same as theirs. They want to sell products because that's how they make most of their money. And you want to sell products because that might be how you make most of your money.
Yeah.
And so you both have the same goal. And Etsy, as they figure things out about shoppers and as they're running tests, and they're going to share that information back with you. Sometimes they're going to kind of push people in a certain direction because they think it's so important. And you just kind of have to keep that in mind. You guys both have the same goal, and you got to work together to get to the promised land.
Yes. All right. Myth number 8. I think that this is our last myth for today, unless the guys come up with some surprising extra myths. But I think that the myth number 8 is our last myth. So myth number 8. Etsy SEO is the same as Google or Amazon SEO.
No.
They're so quiet.
No, no.
I figured they'd have the most to say on this. No, there's
it's a toughie.
Yeah, it's a toughie. No,
toughie.
absolutely not. I don't know that we could say that anymore emphatically. But no, they are
No,
not.
why would it be the same?
Yeah, why would it be the same? Certainly not. Each of them are completely different algorithms, right? And so you're going to optimize in different ways for each platform. So, yeah, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the goals of each platform are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Google's goal is to get information and sift through a bunch of information and find the most relevant information for you. Etsy's goal is to find the most relevant products for you. They're two completely different things that they're each trying to do. So obviously they're going to want to have different algorithms to accomplish those two things. They're going to look completely differently, and they should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Etsy's a niche marketplace, whereas Amazon is based on having everything. And I know they have some handmade stuff now, but really they're like more than anything, it's about commodity on Amazon. Things with the SKU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not to say that information from these platforms is completely useless in terms of building an SEO strategy. Obviously, it's not. Several times throughout this particular episode, we've mentioned optimizing for Google. So obviously, we know that information from these other platforms is helpful. They're gonna help you find trends. That sometimes things can be predictive. Like we found that trends on Pinterest can be predictive of something that's going to be popular on Etsy. So it's not that the information is just useless to you in terms of building an Etsy SEO strategy, but it's very different. The algorithms are very different, and it's just something that you should know and keep in mind. Like they were saying, these different algorithms prioritize things differently. But what you need to remember is that about 80% of engagement on Etsy starts with a search from the Etsy platform. And so you want to make sure that you're optimized for Etsy search, because that's a big number to just be missing out on if you're like, well, I'm just going to be, optimizing for Google.